Thank you, Chair, and thank Your Excellencies for the opportunity. Thank you, Chair, and thank Your Excellencies for the opportunity to speak today on behalf of SAM. We come to the Commission this year to state that the biggest challenge that we are all facing is turning our backs to the vision of a society where we prevent drug use before it starts and celebrate recovery. This is a noble vision and goal, even if it may not always be perfectly attainable. We strive for a society free of poverty, free of conflict, free of prejudice. Why not one free of chemicals that enslave our brains? We fully agree with and echo the concerns of the International Narcotics Control Board that it is unacceptable for member states to sanction actions that violate both the spirit and the letter of the Single Convention on Narcotic Drugs and threaten international cooperation. Take the issue of cannabis. Today's cannabis is 20 to 50 times stronger than in the past. It is being peddled by multinational corporations whose profit motive is addiction. In Canada and the United States, we are experiencing the worst addiction crisis in our lifetime, in any lifetime. And this is not just from unintentional poisonings of fentanyls, but it's also increasingly because of polydrug use, with cannabis as all too common denominator. We agree that we should embrace interventions that reduce harm, but harm reduction should remain a means to an end, a means to the end of recovery. It cannot only be the end. So yes, we should meet people where they're at, but we should not leave them there. There is no such thing as safe drug use. And in the United States, Canada, and other countries, we are beginning to feel the negative effects of these drug policies. So we warn countries like Germany, about to go down the path of cannabis commercialization, to be very careful. Now, some use the guise of decriminalization to say they are promoting humane drug use. But often, and too often, it's about prolonging human suffering. This is not anywhere more evidence than in the state of Oregon. Encouraged by deep-pocketed interest groups, the law 3 years ago decriminalized all drug use and removed any incentive for treatment. 3 years later, Oregon is the worst state in the United States for addiction, for overdose, for youth drug use, for public drug use, for homelessness, on and on. And now even Oregon's far-left governor has admitted failure and is expected any day, any minute now, to sign bipartisan legislation repealing the decriminalization of drugs in that state. We are not calling to criminalize addiction. We understand that addiction is a complex biobehavioral disorder, and there are many different paths to recovery. But legalizing drugs under the guise of so-called safe supply of prescription drugs, as many parts of Canada is beginning to do, is not the way out. We stress that an international legal drug industry, first cannabis, then psychedelic drugs, now heroin and other drugs, is likely to leverage multilateral investment treaties to challenge public health regulations. This is no more evident than in the case of tobacco. We cannot have one policy of discouraging tobacco use and another of encouraging illegal drug use. So in conclusion, we therefore request member states follow the 3 international drug conventions, reiterate their commitment to these conventions, and understand that drugs have a place for medical and scientific purposes, that we are not treating addiction as a crime, but we are instead treating it truly as an illness with treatment and recovery needed. So we remind member states to implement their obligations from these conventions. These are the backbone of international supply, demand, and control. They are flexible to adapt to cultural differences. There is no one-size-fits-all. However, they should not adapt to political whims or the whims of for-profit business schemes which only aim to further enslave us, hold back the next generation, and condemn people to a life of addiction. Humanity deserves far, far better. Thank you.